What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Taurean Reloaded channel. If you are new, please be sure to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Also, be sure to click that bell and have your notifications set to all so you can be notified whenever I upload a new video or go live. Also, be sure to like, comment, and share this content on your various social media platforms. So today I will be talking about this woman who is a black education leader whose name is Cecelia Lewis, who literally got what I would like to think of as a throwback Jim Crow style treatment. And once you hear the details behind it, it will remind you of such. So I'm going to read this article that's coming from sports.yahoo.com. And I'm going to read the title to you. It says, white parents chase black teacher out of town over CRT fears before following her to the next town. They literally chased this woman out of one town over critical race theory. And then it wasn't enough for them to chase her out of one town, that they ended up following and stalking her to the next town to try to get her up out of there. And the thing is, I think there's a video behind this. And I think I saw a video about this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to post the link to the video in the description, and y'all can go and watch it for yourselves. And you can see how it looks like World War Z or some kind of zombie movie, because these individuals was literally banging on the door and everything, like, and yelling and all types of stuff. It almost reminded me of Ruby Bridges. If y'all know the story of Ruby Bridges or seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm going to read this article here. This is a distinguished black educational leader was hounded out of 2 different Georgia school districts within months of her hiring, as conservative groups and angry white parents protested what they falsely believed was the introduction of critical race theory into their schools. All they had to do was say it was Georgia, and that let me know what I needed to know right there. According to a new ProPublica report, educator Cecelia Lewis was, by all accounts, a beloved leader throughout her educational career. When she left the position as a principal at a school in Maryland in 2021, they created a wall to honor her, featuring her signature sign-off and messages to students. If no one's told you they care about you today, know that I do, and there is absolutely nothing you can do about it. However, things took a turn as she prepared for a new job in Georgia's Cherokee County School District, a newly created position focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion work. The district was initially enthusiastic about the new hire, mentioning Ms. Lewis' impressive credentials and enthusiasm for the role, and noting how the DEI initiative in the district stems from input from parents, employees, and quote-unquote students of color. Ms. Lewis told ProPublica she began getting strange calls from district administrators warning her to not mention CRT, a concept she had never heard of. Critical race theory, a high-level academic concept about the influence and forms of structural racism, is virtually never taught below the university level. But that didn't stop Cherokee County parents from rallying against it, barraging the district with form letters. Now, see, they break down what critical race theory is right there. Now, listen to this. Let me read that again. A high-level academic concept about the influence and forms of structural racism. Basically, it's one of those things where PC doesn't want the mirror held up in front of them, and they're feeling salty as an unanned pretzel right now about it. Like I tell you, this is exactly how they keep Dub S going, by telling people, themselves included, and their kids, moreover, that it doesn't exist. Man, sometimes I wish I could be a fly on the wall inside of the average PC home and just wonder, what do they say about us behind closed doors, or what do they tell their kids about us? And because I'm telling you, the way that Dub S sticks around is generational. So what do they have to do? They have to constantly tell their kids all types of things about us, how much better they are than us. That's how it keeps going. That's how the residual effects of Dub S continues. And when they feel something is going to interrupt that or throw a wrench into that, then that's when they get upset, such as this whole CRT thing. They said this woman never heard of CRT up until that point. She didn't know what it is that was, that she was, brought in to do. And CRT was not part of that. They probably never mentioned CRT to her. She just did what she thought she was there to do. And PC got in their feelings about it. Someone from the area even sent a letter to Miss Lewis's old district warning that they didn't want a quote unquote, and these are their words, black Yankee in their schools. Now, a lot of people who choose to be willfully obtuse, and I'm talking to black people right now, will say, oh my God, this is 2022. Yes, it's 2022. Did you really think Dub S was going to stop because it's a new year and it's a new century? You think because it's not 1952 and that it is 2022 that Dub S just stopped? No. It just found a better way of hiding itself. However, I wouldn't even say it's starting. It has now shown that it's creeping back out. And honestly, it's not even creeping back out. It's back out there. Those were their words. They said they didn't want a black Yankee in their schools. People on social media began sharing quote unquote sightings of Miss Lewis, even though she remained in Maryland ahead of the new school year. Things boiled over at a May 2021 school board meeting at the mention of Miss Lewis's hiring. Parents pounded on the windows and screamed no. One speaker, a volunteer for a Republican gubernatorial candidate, accused Miss Lewis of being a racist herself and disgracing the work of... I had to pause right quick because y'all know what's coming. Martin Luther King Jr. They love to use that and bastardize that man's name. Embracing the teaching of critical race theory is a slap in the face to Dr. King's teachings. Stan Fitzgerald said, taxpayer-funded anti-white racism is still exactly that, racism. And they wonder why their time is almost up. I'm telling you, that National Geographic cover got them shook. That cut me so deeply, Miss Lewis told ProPublica. It hit the core of who I am as a being. At the meeting, the district disavowed its DEI plan and passed a resolution against CRT and the teaching of the 1619 Project, the New York Times groundbreaking and controversial project of the centrality of slavery and racism to U.S. history. That was apparently still not enough for the angry crowd, who began screaming at administrators, with one man vowing to board members, "We're going to hunt you down." So now they're making open threats to the board. All because of this one woman's hiring. It got them that upset. Like I told you, I'm going to post the video. As a matter of fact, I might actually show the clip in here because I actually came across it in this article. So I might show it at the when I'm done my commentary. Children in the room reportedly began crying, and district leaders requested police escorts. The following day, a Cherokee County parent discussed the supposed infiltration of CRT into the district on Fox News, of all places. The violent reaction persuaded Miss Lewis to resign. She was barely into the job. I wholeheartedly fell in love with Cherokee County when I came to visit and accepted the position, but somehow I got caught in the crossfire of lies, misinformation, and accusations which have zero basis, she told a local paper. But things didn't end there. Angry parents tracked her to her next job, a social studies leadership role in Cobb County, one of the state's larger districts, and began barraged district leaders. She felt the complaints led her to be sidelined at work, and she resigned again for the second time in 1 year. I did nothing but showed up to work, signed a contract, agreed to do what I was asked to do on the job description, she told ProPublica, and yet again, I'm getting attacked. Despite being a relatively niche academic concept until a few years ago, CRT has emerged as a boogeyman on the right. Legislatures in more than 40 states have initiated attempts to ban its teaching, with Republican backers frequently using the CRT label to attack all manners of anti-racist education and frank discussions of racism in U.S. history that proliferated after the 2020 racial reckoning following the murder of George Floyd. And that's the whole article right there. Let me just first say that I feel really bad for this woman. All she was doing was her job. She did not know that this was going to end up happening. I'm sure some of them down there didn't even know that was going to end up happening. I hope they didn't try to set her up. But that's crazy how this woman just went down there. You know, she's thinking she's going to do a job that she loves to do. And nowadays you find a lot of people do stuff they don't like to do. They're just doing it for a check. But you can tell that she actually enjoyed her job because she went to another town trying to get it, try to work there. And these individuals, these animals, which you'll see in a moment, chased her out of town. She barely got her feet wet. She barely was able to get into the work that she was hired to do before she got chased out of one town. And they said, that's not enough. We're going to find out where you are, and we're going to go chase you out of that town too. Thank God, and hopefully they didn't find out where she lived. Because I wouldn't be surprised if they stuck a cross in her yard and started to burn it. Or worse, the fire gets to the home. It's clearly evident this woman is not safe down there, probably in that entire state. Or maybe she needs to go to maybe a predominantly black area. I don't know. But maybe she just doesn't need to be in that state. Like, they literally put like one big dark cloud over her and made her a primary target when all she was there for was to do her job. And this is the treatment that she got. But people want to sit back and say that racism and Dub S does not exist. You can miss me with that. All right, so what I'm about to do right now for you is play the video. It's only 11 seconds long of these grown so-called adults literally banging at the door, like literally rallying to chase her out of town. Check this out. So y'all saw that, right? They're literally at the building yelling and chanting no. And it looks like it's early in the morning. I can tell by the way that the setting looks. Literally trying to get her, like, not even trying to get her out of there, but getting her, like, moving, getting her out of there. See, the thing is, they want the establishment to remain a certain way, or a way in which maybe their parents were at a time, or shoot, some of them even at a time when they were young enough to, but still old enough to remember what that time was like. And they feel that, see, that whole CRT, like they said in the article, is like one big boogeyman to them. And the thing is, we keep saying over and over and over, CRT is not taught on a public school level. It is a collegiate level course, especially for those going into law. This would not affect their children, but they have, a seed has been planted into their minds that that's what it is. And you could thank people like that damn Tucker Carlson and Ron DeSantis, or as I call him, Ron the Snowflake, down in Florida, people like them, for planting that seed, and they fell for it. And you know what's so crazy? Ron DeSantis and Tucker Carlson are probably cackling at this because this entertains them. They love seeing stuff like this. They love it. And what they'll do is they'll flip it back onto black people like Cecelia Lewis and make it seem like it's our fault, or make it seem like it's her fault, that she's the problem, that she's the issue. But what really got me is the fact that they chased her out of one town and then went and followed her to another town and chased her out of there. They were really threatened by her presence. One black person literally threatened their, I guess, their way of life. They just literally told on themselves, and they let you know what that sector down there in that part of Georgia is like. But like I said, it didn't surprise me seeing that it was from Georgia. Shoot, I'm almost surprised it wasn't Florida, considering who runs that state. But yeah, I need to know from any of my Georgia subscribers, did you hear about this? I'm almost certain that you did. You had to have, because I'm sure it made airwaves down there on a local level. I don't know if it made it to a national level. It should have, if it hasn't, because after all, I found out about this online. And I feel like a lot of times when you find out about stuff online, sometimes, depending on what it is, it may not make it to a big market. But yeah, I hope that, she might have to end up leaving the state. It's a shame is going to have to come to that. And it's crazy. She left the state that I currently reside in to go for a better opportunity. And this is what she gets hit with. This is what she gets bombarded with. It literally hit her like a bag of bricks. And literally it's trailing her. And the thing is, if she knows that it followed her from one town to the next, it's almost pointless for her now to go to another town in the same state, because all they're going to do is they're going to follow her there. Like, they literally almost like created a paper trail for her to be followed by, and pretty much stalked. At this point, they're not even following her, to my to for me, she's being stalked. That's what I gather. Like if they was to do it again, it's stalking. But even at the second time, that's stalking. That's basically what they're doing with her. And it's almost like they're trying to make an example out of her too, because I've never heard of something like this before. I'm not saying it never happens, but I've never read something like this before. So they're probably making an example out of her for like future black educators or people who are black who are into the educational area, that if you try to do the same thing too, knowingly or unknowingly in her case, we're going to do the same thing with you. But the reason I want her to leave out of there is because, like I said earlier, this can transcend from just them chasing her from town to town to them showing up at her home. And then that's when it can be a real issue. It's already an issue now. But if it gets to that point, it becomes a major issue, because now you're going to a place where it should be my own personal space, my own sense of security. I hope she has a power tool. I will say that, because she might need it. And that's my take on it.